I stared at my phone screen, my hands trembling as I read the transaction details again. $120,000, Tesla Motors, my fertility treatment money, gone. My name is Sophia, and until last Tuesday I thought I knew exactly how my life would unfold. I'd spent 3 years saving, planning and dreaming of becoming a mother. Now I sat in my car outside the fertility clinic, trying to make sense of numbers that refused to add up. "Ms. Rodriguez," Dr. Patterson's receptionist called earlier, "there seems to be an issue with your payment. The funds never cleared." "That's impossible," I'd replied, my voice steady despite the panic rising in my chest. "I signed the loan documents last week." "Perhaps you should contact your bank," she suggested gently. I did. That's when I found it. The massive withdrawal that had drained my account. My future. My hope. The memory of signing those loan papers was still fresh. Reed, my boss, had co-signed as my guarantor. He'd been supportive when I'd confided in him about my struggles with infertility. "You're one of our best analysts, Sophia," he'd said. "Whatever you need, I'm here to help." I pulled out my phone and dialed my cousin Delaney's number. She'd been staying with me last week when I signed the papers. The call went straight to voicemail. "Hey, Del, weird question, but have you heard anything about a Tesla purchase? There's something strange going on with my account." My hands shook as I drove to the bank. The teller's face grew increasingly concerned as she pulled up my records. "Ma'am, according to our documents, you authorized this transfer 5 days ago. There's a signed purchase agreement for a Model S." "Show me," I demanded. She turned the screen. There it was, my signature, perfect in every detail, on a contract I'd never seen. My phone buzzed, a text from Delaney. "OMG, Sophia! You'll never believe what happened. Come to the mall parking lot." 20 minutes later, I pulled into the crowded lot, and there she was, my cousin, my best friend since childhood, leaning against a gleaming white Tesla, grinning like she'd won the lottery. "Isn't she beautiful?" Delaney squealed, running her hand along the hood. The world tilted sideways. "Del, what did you do?" "Don't be mad," she said, her smile faltering slightly. "I saw the loan papers on your counter. It just seemed like such a waste, spending all that money on something that might not even work." I felt the blood drain from my face. "You stole my identity." "Borrowed," she corrected, as if that made it better. "Look, you can still do your baby thing later. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity." "That money was for my IVF treatment," I whispered, my voice breaking. "How could you?" "Oh, please, it's not like it was guaranteed to work anyway." She rolled her eyes. "Maybe this is the universe telling you it's not meant to be." A security camera blinked overhead. I made a mental note of its location, even as tears blurred my vision. "I'm calling the police," I said, pulling out my phone. Delaney's face hardened. "Really? You'd do that to family? Good luck explaining that to Grandma Yara." My finger hovered over the keypad. She was right. Our grandmother would never understand. In her world, family loyalty trumped everything, even when that loyalty was toxic. "I trusted you," I said, my voice hollow. "You were like a sister to me." "And you're still my favourite cousin," she smiled, climbing into the driver's seat. "Come on, I'll give you a ride home. The handling on this baby is incredible." I backed away, fighting the urge to be sick. "Keep the car, Delaney, but remember this moment. Remember what you chose." As I walked to my car, my phone buzzed again. A reminder from the fertility clinic. "Final payment due within 48 hours or appointment will be cancelled." I sat in my old Honda, watching Delaney drive away in her stolen Tesla. The sun glinted off its pristine white surface, nearly blinding me. 3 years of savings, countless overtime hours, all my hopes and dreams, transformed into my cousin's new toy. My hands stopped shaking. Something cold and clear crystallized in my chest. I opened my contacts and scrolled to a name I hadn't called in years. Ross Mitchell, my ex who now worked in consumer fraud cases. "Ross, it's Sophia. I need your help with something." "Sophia, are you okay? You sound different." I watched the Tesla disappear around the corner, taking my old self with it. I am different, I replied, and I'm about to become very, very busy. 3 days of sleepless nights and endless phone calls led me to this moment, standing outside Delaney's apartment, clutching a folder of bank statements and loan documents. My knuckles had barely grazed her door when it swung open. "I wondered when you'd show up," she said, wearing my favourite silk blouse, one I'd reported missing last week. "We need to talk." I stepped inside without waiting for an invitation. "Want some tea?" She floated to the kitchen, casual as if this were any other family visit. "I just bought this amazing new loose-leaf blend. What I want is an explanation." I spread the documents across her granite countertop. "Here's the loan application I signed for IVF. Here's your Tesla purchase agreement with my forged signature. Care to explain?" Delaney stirred honey into her tea, the spoon clinking against fine china she definitely couldn't afford on her receptionist's salary. "I already told you, it just made more sense this way." "Made sense?" My voice cracked. "You stole my identity." "Borrowed," she corrected again, sipping her tea. "And honestly, Sophia, you should be thanking me." "Thanking you?" "Think about it. You're 33, single, and let's be real. Your biological clock isn't getting any younger. That fertility treatment was a desperate move." Each word hit like a slap. "You had no right." "I did you a favour." She set down her cup. "The universe clearly doesn't want you to be a mother right now, maybe never, but look what you got instead. A cousin with an amazing car who can drive you anywhere you want." A man emerged from her bedroom, shirtless and yawning. "Everything okay out here, babe?" "Everything's fine, Ryder," Delaney smiled, "just my cousin having a little meltdown." I recognised him from the Tesla dealership security footage Ross had obtained. "So you're the salesman who helped her commit fraud." His casual smirk vanished. "Hey, I don't know what you're talking about." "Really? Because I have footage of you processing paperwork with my stolen ID." Delaney's face darkened. "You've been investigating us?" "Did you think I wouldn't?" "I thought you'd be reasonable," she snapped. "But you've always been like this. Dramatic, obsessive, unable to let things go." "Let things go? You stole my future." "Oh, please," she rolled her eyes. "A baby isn't a future. It's a burden. Look at Aunt Marlene. Your mum gave up everything to raise you, and what did it get her?" I grabbed my phone. "I'm calling the police." "Go ahead," Delaney laughed. "I already talked to Grandma Yara. The whole family knows what a selfish, vindictive person you're being." My finger froze over the emergency dial. "What?" "She agrees with me. Family helps family. And if you can't see how I'm helping you avoid a huge mistake, that's your problem." I called her bluff and dialed my grandmother's number, putting it on speaker. Sophia?" Grandma Yara's voice crackled through. "I was just about to call you. How could you threaten your cousin with the police?" "She stole my identity, Grandma, my fertility treatment money." "Money comes and goes," she interrupted. "Family is forever. Delaney made a mistake, but she's young. You're the older cousin. You should be more understanding." "Understanding?" I choked. "She stole my chance to have a child." "Maybe it's a sign," Grandma said softly. "Maybe God is telling you to wait for marriage first, like a proper woman." Delaney smirked over her teacup. "I can't believe this," I whispered. "You're all taking her side?" "There shouldn't be sides in family," Grandma declared. "Now apologise to your cousin and let's put this nonsense behind us." I ended the call, my hands shaking again, but this time with rage, not shock. "See?" Delaney stood, spreading her arms. "Family first. Come here, let's hug it out." I backed away from her embrace. "You're right about one thing, Del. Family is forever." I walked to the door, then turned back. "And so is karma." "What's that supposed to mean?" Her smile faltered. "It means I'm done playing nice. I'm done being the reasonable one, the understanding one, the one who sacrifices everything for family loyalty." "Sophia." "Keep the car, Del. Keep my blouse too. But remember what I said at the mall. Remember what you chose." Ryder stepped forward. "Is that a threat?" I smiled, feeling something cold and powerful unfurl in my chest. "No, that's a promise. And unlike some people's signatures, my promises are always genuine. I walked out, closing the door on Delaney's protests. My phone buzzed. A text from Ross. Got the dealership employee's statement, ready when you are. For the first time in days, I felt steady, clear. My family wanted to talk about signs from the universe. Fine, I'd give them a sign they'd never forget. I texted back, start the paperwork, it's time. Tell me how you're really feeling, Sophia. Sylvia, my therapist, leaned forward in her chair, her eyes kind but probing. I searched for the right words. Empty, but not in the way they expect. Not broken. More like cleared out, ready. Ready for what? Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. Another message from my mother. Please call Grandma, she's worried about you. I switched it to silent. Ready to stop being everyone's doormat. That's quite a shift from our last session, Sylvia noted. What changed? Everything. I stood and paced her office. You know what I realised? When I was 8, Delaney broke my favourite doll. Everyone told me to forgive her because she was younger. When I was 16, she borrowed my prom dress and ruined it. Again, I had to be understanding. Now she's stolen my chance at motherhood, and they're still singing the same song. And you're done singing along? I'm writing a new song. My phone lit up again. Read this time. Sorry, I should take this. It's my boss. Sylvia nodded. We'll pick this up next week. In the hallway, I answered Reed's call. Everything okay? More than okay, he said. Remember Malik from the Tesla dealership? He's willing to make a statement. Says he felt guilty after realising what really happened. That's unexpected. Apparently Delaney's been bragging about her financial genius at the country club. Malik overheard her telling someone how she beat the system. I pressed my forehead against the cool window glass. Did she mention me? She said, and I quote, my barren cousin won't need that money anyway. Something inside me hardened further. Record everything. Already done. Ross is handling the legal side. You should call him. I found Ross waiting at our usual coffee shop, looking exactly as he had 3 years ago when we dated. Kind eyes, nervous hands, heart too soft for his own good. Thanks for helping with this, I said, sliding into the booth. When you told me what happened, he shook his head. I've handled hundreds of fraud cases, but this one's personal. Because we used to date? Because I remember how much you wanted to be a mother. Even back then, you were researching fertility options. The barista brought our drinks, his usual Americano, my chai latte. Some habits never change. I found something else, Ross continued, pulling out his laptop. Ryder, the salesman, he has a history of shady deals, 3 complaints of processing loans under suspicious circumstances. Can we use that? Better. He turned the screen toward me. Look who co-signed the Tesla lease. There it was, Ryder's signature next to Delaney's, pretending to be me. A clear violation of dealership policy. He's going down with her, I whispered. Sophia. Ross hesitated. Are you sure you want to go through with this? It could tear your family apart. They already did that. I took a sip of chai, letting the spices warm my throat. You know what I keep thinking about? That summer when Delaney and I were kids, playing dress-up in my mum's clothes. We promised to be each other's bridesmaids, godmothers to each other's children. People change. No, people reveal who they've always been. I just refuse to see it. My phone buzzed again, this time with a notification that made me sit up straight. A payment reminder from Tesla, auto-playing through my family's group chat on speaker. This is a courtesy call for Sofia Rodriguez regarding the overdue payment on your Model S Tesla. Please contact our financial department immediately to avoid repossession. The chat exploded. Grandma. Sophia, you said you were dropping this. Mom. Honey, please be reasonable. Delaney. This is so embarrassing. Ross reached across the table and squeezed my hand. You okay? I showed him my screen where another message had appeared. This one from Reed. Got everything recorded? Time to move forward? I'm better than okay, I replied to Ross, typing back a quick yes to read. I'm finally seeing clearly. What's next? I pulled out my planner, the same one where I'd marked my IVF appointments, now repurposed for a different kind of planning. Family brunch, I said, writing the date. Grandma Yara always says important things should be discussed over a meal. And what exactly will be discussed? I looked up at Ross, feeling that cold clarity settle into my bones. Justice, served with a side of consequences. Need backup? Actually. I studied his familiar face, remembering why I'd loved him once. I could use a surprise guest, someone respectable, legal. He smiled, that same soft smile that used to make my heart skip. Just tell me when and where. I wrote his name in my planner, right next to Operation Reverse Teslina. Hope you like your eggs scrambled, I said, because that's exactly what's about to happen to Delaney's perfect little world. The manila folder on my desk was getting thicker by the day. Bank statements, loan documents, security footage stills, and witness testimonies. Each piece a bullet in the chamber I was loading. You've got everything? Reed asked, reviewing the papers spread across my office. Almost. I checked my list, just waiting on one last thing. My phone buzzed. Ross. Got the Tesla dealership's internal communications. You won't believe what I found. Speak of the devil, I smiled, opening his message. Email threads between Ryder and the finance department revealed everything. He'd known exactly who I was when Delaney brought in my documents. They'd even joked about it. Another totally legit signature, the finance manager had written. Hey, commission is commission, Ryder replied. This is gold, Reed whistled, reading over my shoulder. They're basically confessing. And it gets better. I pulled up the security footage Ross had obtained. Watch this. The video showed Delaney at the dealership, practicing my signature on scratch paper before signing the final documents. Ryder stood beside her, coaching her through it. I've seen enough fraud cases to know premeditation when I see it, Ross said as he walked into my office. Sorry I'm late. Traffic was brutal. You're right on time. I gestured to the chair beside Reed. We were just reviewing the evidence. Ross set his briefcase down. I've got something else for you. Remember how Ryder mentioned other deals? I found 2 more victims. They're willing to testify. Perfect. I added their statements to my folder, labelled neatly. The price of betrayal. Sophia, Reed leaned forward, are you absolutely certain about this? Once you start, there's no going back. I opened my drawer and pulled out an old photograph. Delaney and me at my college graduation, arms around each other, smiling like sisters. She was certain when she stole my future, I said, ripping the photo in half. I'm just returning the favour. Speaking of favours, Ross pulled out an envelope. The Tesla regional manager wants to make this right. They're offering to void the entire contract. Not good enough. I shook my head. They enabled fraud. They need to feel it too. The press would love this story, Reed mused. Corporate negligence, family betrayal, justice served cold. No press. I closed my folder. Not yet. Family first, remember? My phone chimed with a calendar reminder. Brunch invitations, send today. I pulled up my email and began typing, Dear family, it's been too long since we've all gathered together. In the spirit of healing and reconciliation, I'm hosting a special brunch next Saturday. Grandma Yara always says important matters should be discussed over good food. I have something significant to share with everyone. Love, Sophia. Think they'll come? Ross asked. Oh, they'll come. I hit send. Grandma won't let them miss it. She still thinks she can fix this with hugs and homemade empanadas. And Delaney? She'll be there. Her pride won't let her look scared. Right on cue, responses started flowing in. Grandma. Finally, you're being sensible. I'll bring my special flan. Mum. So happy you're ready to move forward, honey. Delaney. Wouldn't miss it for the world, cuz. Need me to bring anything? They really have no idea, do they? Reed shook his head. That's the beauty of it. I started organising copies of the evidence into individual envelopes. They think I'm waving a white flag. They don't realise it's a paper sword. Ross picked up one of the envelopes. Want me to present the legal implications? No, I said, taking it back. I want to do it myself. I want to see their faces when they realise exactly who they've been protecting. And after? Reed asked quietly. I looked at the torn photograph on my desk. After, I'll finally be free. No more family guilt, no more toxic loyalty, no more sacrificing my dreams for someone else's greed. My phone buzzed again. Delaney. BTW, the Tesla is amazing. We should totally go shopping next week after brunch. You know, sister time. I showed the message to Ross and Reed. They both winced. She really doesn't get it, does she? Ross said. No, I replied, adding the message screenshot to my evidence folder. But she will. They all will. I stood and walked to my window, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of revenge. Gentlemen, I turned back to them, I hope you like breakfast food, because next Saturday we're serving justice with a side of eggs Benedict. Reed raised an imaginary glass. To karma. No, I corrected, thinking of the Tesla payment reminder still echoing in our family chat. To consequences. The morning sun streamed through my dining room windows as I arranged the last place setting. 8 manila envelopes sat beside 8 plates, each one stuffed with carefully curated evidence. The doorbell chimed. Sophia, mi amor. Grandma Yara bustled in, carrying her promised flan. The house smells wonderful. Thanks, Grandma. I took the dessert, noting how she decorated it with Delaney's favourite fruits. Mom arrived next, hugging me tentatively. The table looks beautiful, honey. Just wait, I murmured. Delaney swept in last, Ryder in tow, wearing designer sunglasses and a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Sorry we're late, the Tesla needed charging. Ross and Reed arrived precisely on schedule, briefcases in hand. Delaney's smile faltered when she saw them. Who are they? Grandma Yara demanded. Friends, I said smoothly. Please everyone sit. The eggs Benedict is getting cold. They settled around my table, Delaney between Ryder and Grandma, Mum nervously picking at her napkin, Ross and Reed flanking me like silent guardians. Before we eat, I stood, lifting my mimosa, a toast to family and to truth. To family, they echoed, though Delaney's voice wavered. Now, I remained standing. Please open the envelopes beside your plates. Sophia, Mum started, I thought this was about reconciliation. Oh, it is, I smiled. Open them. Papers rustled. Gasps filled the room. Delaney's face went white as she recognised the security footage stills of herself forging my signature. What is this? Grandma Yara's hands shook as she held up the bank statements. Evidence, I said calmly, of fraud, identity theft and conspiracy. Would anyone like me to explain the photos, or should I play the audio recordings first? You're recording things now. Delaney stood abruptly. This is insane. Insane? I clicked play on my phone. Delaney's voice filled the room. My barren cousin won't need that money anyway. Besides, the signature was practically perfect. Ryder grabbed his coat. I'm not staying for this. Sit down, Ross's voice cut through the chaos. As an officer of the court, I advise you both to hear everything before making any hasty decisions. Officer of the court? Grandma Yara's eyes narrowed. You brought lawyers to a family brunch. No, Grandma. I brought witnesses, professional ones, because apparently family witnesses can't be trusted to tell the truth. Sophia, please, Mum pleaded. We can work this out. Like you worked it out when Delaney stole my prom dress, or when she borrowed my college fund for her spring break. How about when she took my fertility treatment money for a Tesla? It was just a loan, Delaney protested. Really? Reed spoke up. Is that why you bragged to the country club about beating the system? The colour drained from her face. How did you? Malik sends his regards, I cut in. The dealership employee you two convinced to process fraudulent paperwork. He's very cooperative now that he's facing charges. Ryder stood again. This is harassment. No, Ross interrupted, opening his briefcase. "This is evidence of criminal conspiracy. Would you like to see the other complaints against you? The other loans you helped process illegally?" The room fell silent except for the clinking of mimosa glasses and my mother's quiet sobs. "Why are you doing this?" Grandma Yara whispered. "We're family." "Exactly." I lifted my glass again. And family should face consequences when they steal someone's future. "I didn't steal," Delaney started. $120,000, I cut her off. "My IVF money, my chance at motherhood, my identity, my trust. Tell me, Del, was the Tesla worth it?" She grabbed her purse. "I don't have to listen to this." "Actually, you do." Reed stood. "The police are waiting outside. They're very interested in this case." "You called the police?" Mum gasped. "No," I corrected. "I called justice." Through my dining room window, we could see 2 police cars pulling up. Delaney's face crumpled. "Sophia, please," she begged. "I'll sell the car. I'll pay you back." Too late. I nodded to Ross, who opened the front door. "You chose the Tesla over family. Now you can explain that choice to a judge." Officers entered, reading rights, applying handcuffs. Grandma Yara wailed. Mum covered her face. Ryder tried to run, but was caught in the kitchen. As they led Delaney out, she turned to me one last time. "I thought you loved me like a sister." "I did." I picked up her untouched mimosa. "That's why this hurts so much." The door closed behind them. In the sudden quiet, I raised my glass to the remaining stunned faces around my table. "Now, who's hungry? The Eggs Benedict is getting cold." The video of Delaney's arrest went viral faster than I expected. Someone at the country club posted it with the caption, "Tesla thief gets karma served." By Monday morning, it had over 1 million views. "Your cousin's trending," Reed said, dropping a coffee on my desk. "How are you holding up?" "Better than her." I showed him the local news article. "Woman arrested for identity theft after stealing cousin's fertility treatment money for luxury car." My phone buzzed. Another message from Grandma Yara. I'd stopped counting after the 50th one. "Still not answering?" Reed asked. "Not until she stops telling me to drop the charges for the sake of family." The intercom crackled. "Ms. Rodriguez, there's a Malik here to see you." The Tesla dealership employee walked in, looking nervous but determined. "I wanted to thank you," he said. "After what happened, the dealership fired Ryder and promoted me to his position." "Karma works in mysterious ways," I smiled. "Also," he hesitated, "I have something you should see." He pulled out his phone, showing me texts from Delaney dating back months before the theft. She'd been planning this, calculating exactly when my loan would be approved. "May I?" Ross appeared in the doorway, lawyer mode activated. Malik handed over his phone willingly. "This proves premeditation," Ross said, scrolling through the messages. "The judge will love this." My desk phone rang, the fertility clinic's number flashing on the display. "Sophia, this is Dr. Patterson. We've received an anonymous donation specifically for your IVF treatment, the full amount." I nearly dropped the phone. "What?" "Someone paid for your entire treatment cycle. They asked to remain anonymous but said you'd understand the message. Justice comes in many forms." Tears pricked my eyes as I looked at Reed and Ross, both suddenly very interested in their coffee cups. "When can I start?" I asked. "We can schedule your first appointment for next week." After hanging up, I stood and hugged them both. "Thank you." "We have no idea what you're talking about," Reed winked. My phone buzzed again. Mum this time. "Delaney lost her job. Her face is everywhere. Please, Sophia, have mercy." "Speaking of consequences," Ross said, reading over my shoulder, "the Tesla's being repossessed today." "I know." I checked my watch. "In about 20 minutes, actually." "Want to watch?" "No." I gathered my things. "I want front row seats." We arrived at Delaney's apartment complex just as the repo team was hooking up the Tesla. She stood on her balcony, mascara streaking her cheeks, screaming about lawsuits and family betrayal. "This is harassment," she shouted when she saw me. "I'm your family." "No," I called back, calm and clear. "Family doesn't steal futures." Ryder appeared behind her. "Baby, my lawyer says—" "Your lawyer dropped you," Ross interrupted, "after finding those other fraud cases. Turns out you're not worth the risk." The Tesla's wheels left the ground, suspended in the air like some twisted modern art piece. Delaney's sobs echoed across the parking lot. "You've ruined my life," she screamed. "Actually," I replied, "you did that yourself. I just provided the evidence." My phone lit up with a news alert. Local woman's identity theft case sparks national discussion on family financial abuse. "Ready to go?" Ross touched my arm gently. "Almost." I walked closer to the balcony, looking up at my cousin one last time. "Remember when you said maybe it was fate, that the universe was sending me a sign?" She wiped her eyes, smearing makeup further. "You were right. It was sending me a sign to finally stand up for myself." "I hate you," she spat. "No," I smiled, genuine and free. "You hate that I stopped letting you win." Back in my car, Ross squeezed my hand. "You okay?" "Better than okay." I pulled out the fertility clinic's appointment card. I'm finally moving forward. My phone buzzed one last time, a message from Grandma Yara. "You've destroyed this family." I typed back my first response in weeks. "No, Grandma, I just stopped letting it destroy me." Turning off my phone, I looked at Ross. "Want to grab lunch? I hear the cafe near the courthouse has great Parmesan sandwiches." He laughed, starting the car. "You know, revenge doesn't usually look this good on people." "This isn't revenge," I corrected him, watching the repo truck disappear around the corner, taking Delaney's stolen dreams with it. "This is justice, and justice looks good on everyone who deserves it." As we drove away, I caught a glimpse of myself in the rearview mirror. The woman staring back wasn't the same one who'd signed those loan papers weeks ago. She was stronger, clearer, free of the weight of toxic family loyalty. And she was smiling. The courthouse hallway echoed with my heels clicking against marble as I walked toward courtroom B. Ross and Reed flanked me, briefcases in hand, while Sylvia, my therapist, had come to show support. "Ready?" Ross asked, adjusting his tie. "I've been ready for years," I replied. "I just didn't know it." Inside, Delaney sat with her public defender. All her fancy lawyer friends had abandoned her after the evidence went public. Her designer clothes were gone, replaced by a modest blue suit that screamed clearance rack. She wouldn't meet my eyes. "All rise," the bailiff called. Judge Martinez entered, her expression stern as she reviewed the case files. "Quite the family drama we have here," she noted. "Your Honour," Delaney's lawyer started, "my client wishes to make a statement." "Proceed." Delaney stood, hands shaking. "I made a mistake. I was young and impulsive. But Sophia's my cousin, my sister, really. We grew up together. This vindictive prosecution is tearing our family apart." I felt Ross tense beside me, but I remained calm. "Ms. Rodriguez," the judge turned to me, "would you like to respond?" "Yes, Your Honour." I stood smoothing my cashmere blazer, the one I'd bought myself instead of letting Delaney borrow it. "I'd like to play something if I may." The judge nodded, and Reed set up the audio recording. Delaney's voice filled the courtroom. "My barren cousin won't need that money anyway. Besides, who needs kids when you can have a Tesla? I totally did her a favour." The recording continued, detailing her plans, her mockery, her complete disregard for my dreams. With each word, Delaney seemed to shrink smaller in her cheap suit. "Furthermore," I continued, "I have evidence of premeditation. Text messages showing months of planning, security footage of practiced forgery, and witness statements from the dealership." "This is harassment," Delaney burst out. "She's obsessed with ruining me." "Ms. Rodriguez," the judge interrupted, "did you force your cousin to steal your identity?" "No, Your Honour." "Did you force her to forge your signature?" "No, Your Honour." "Did you force her to mock your fertility struggles while driving a car purchased with your stolen funds?" Delaney's face crumpled. I can explain. The court recognises this as a clear case of identity theft and fraud, Judge Martinez declared. The premeditation evidence is particularly disturbing. However, before I pass sentence, I have one question for the defendant. Delaney stood again, trembling. Was it worth it? The judge asked. Was the car worth destroying your family's trust? Delaney glanced at me, then away. I didn't think she'd actually press charges. Family doesn't do that. No, I spoke up. Family doesn't steal someone's chance at motherhood either. The judge nodded. I've heard enough. On the charges of identity theft and fraud, I find the defendant guilty. 2 years in state prison, 3 years probation, and full financial restitution to the victim. The gavel cracked like thunder. Delaney collapsed into sobs as officers approached. Sophia, please, don't let them take me. I gathered my papers calmly. You took something from me first, Del. The difference is you'll get your freedom back in 2 years. Some chances don't come around twice. In the hallway, I found Mum and Grandma Yara waiting. They'd sat in the back of the courtroom, silent throughout the proceedings. Happy now, Grandma spat. You've sent your own cousin to prison. No, Grandma, her choices sent her to prison. I just refused to be her victim. I raised you better than this, she insisted. You raised me to be a doormat, I corrected. I raised myself to be better. Mum stepped forward, tears in her eyes. I understand now why you had to do this. I'm sorry I didn't support you sooner. I hugged her, breathing in her familiar perfume. Thank you, Mum. That means everything. Don't encourage this, Grandma protested. Enough, Mother. Mum straightened her spine. Sophia's right. We enabled Delaney for too long. It's time for consequences. Ross appeared at my elbow. Ready to go? We have that appointment to get to. Appointment? Grandma demanded. Yes, I smiled, taking Ross's offered arm. My first IVF consultation, because some dreams refuse to be stolen. Walking out of the courthouse, I felt lighter than I had in years. The spring sun warmed my face as Ross opened my car door. You know what's funny? I said as we pulled away. Delaney always said Karma would get me for being so uptight about my things. Looks like Karma had other plans, Ross smiled. Yeah. I watched the courthouse shrink in the rearview mirror, along with my old life of endless forgiveness and toxic loyalty. Karma looks good in cashmere. The fertility clinic waiting room felt different this time. No more desperate hope or anxious uncertainty, just quiet confidence as I filled out the final forms. Nervous? Ross asked, squeezing my hand. Ready, I replied, signing my name, my real signature, bold and clear. Dr. Patterson welcomed us into her office, spreading out my test results. The numbers look promising, Sophia. We can start the treatment protocol next week. My phone buzzed. A text from Reed. Just heard from the bank. Delaney's restitution payment cleared. Every penny. Speaking of payments, Dr. Patterson smiled. Your anonymous donors were quite insistent about covering everything, including any future attempts if needed. I glanced at Ross, who suddenly found the ceiling fascinating. Guardian angels come in surprising forms, I said. Walking out, we passed the Tesla dealership where everything had started. A familiar face waved from inside, Malik, now wearing a sales manager badge. Want to stop in? Ross teased. I hear they're having a sale. I prefer my Karma without wheels, I laughed. At home, I found a letter from Mom waiting. Inside was a photo I'd never seen. Me at 3 years old, holding a baby doll, beaming with pure joy. Her note read, You were always meant to be a mother. I'm sorry I forgot how to stand up for what matters. Love, Mum. Sophia, Ross called from my kitchen. Your realtor called. The new apartment is ready whenever you are. I joined him, watching as he attempted to cook dinner, something he'd been doing more often lately. It feels strange starting over. Good strange or bad strange. Just strange. I picked up a wooden spoon, correcting his stirring technique. Like everything that was holding me back, just disappeared. Including me, he asked quietly. I turned to face him. You disappeared long before Delaney stole my money. I was scared, he admitted. of wanting the same things you wanted, of not being enough. And now? Now I'm more scared of not trying. He turned down the stove. I've been thinking about what you said in court, about some chances not coming around twice. My phone buzzed, Grandma Yara's daily guilt trip. Family forgives everything. I typed back, true family respects boundaries and supports dreams. You've changed, Ross observed. Had to. Turns out revenge is a pretty good teacher. This wasn't revenge, he corrected. This was you finally choosing yourself. A knock at the door interrupted us. Reed stood there with Sylvia, carrying takeout and champagne. We thought you might want company, Sylvia smiled. It's not every day you start a new chapter. We gathered around my kitchen island, my chosen family, the ones who stood by me when blood ties turned toxic. A toast, Reed proposed, to karma. To justice, Sylvia added. To boundaries, I said, thinking of Grandma's text. To second chances, Ross finished softly, his eyes meeting mine. My phone lit up one last time, a message from an unknown number. Delaney. I understand now. What I stole wasn't just money. I'm sorry it took losing everything to see that. Good luck with the IVF. I showed the message to Ross. Think she means it? Does it matter? I deleted the message without responding. No, my story isn't about her anymore. So what is it about? Sylvia asked. Looking around at these people who chose to stay, who helped me fight, who funded my dreams when others tried to steal them, I finally knew the answer. It's about making space, I said. Space for new family, new love, new life. Space for everything I was afraid to want before. Ross slid his hand over mine. Need help filling that space? Maybe, I smiled. But this time we do it right. No rushing, no fear, no settling. No Teslas, he promised. Just dreams, I agreed. The kind you build, not steal. Reed raised his glass again. To Sophia, who taught us all that sometimes the best revenge is living well. And driving carefully, Sylvia winked. I laughed, feeling the last weight lift from my shoulders. The pasta was burning, the champagne was warm, and nothing had turned out the way I'd planned. But as Ross rescued dinner and Reed told terrible jokes and Sylvia offered sage advice, I realised something profound. Family isn't who shares your blood. It's who shares your values, your dreams, your boundaries. Hey, Ross whispered, as the others debated pizza toppings for backup dinner. You good? I thought about Delaney's message, about Mum's photo, about all the paths that led here. Better than good, I said. I'm free. And in that moment, surrounded by love I'd chosen and respect I'd earned, I knew that was the truest revenge of all.